I like to share those experiences as part of just who I am. Then in 20, when did I leave corporate America? I think 2004, I left corporate America. I had my final corporate job while I simultaneously ran my businesses and just focused on building businesses. Back then with my ex-husband, now on my own and with other people. So, and then in 2017, following my divorce and when I split up all the businesses I had with my ex-husband, he went his way and I went my way, and I decided I didn't really want to retire yet. So I started exploring and getting involved in the online world. I'd always been fascinated by the internet, but I really didn't do hardly anything with it. I didn't even dabble in it. I created a couple of websites for different businesses. I did a few things, but social media wasn't really big yet. And I was in the midst of raising my family as well as running businesses and working in corporate. So it wasn't until 2017 that I said, maybe I will hop in and see what this is all about. And guess what? I faced a whole new set of amazing and interesting and frustrating challenges that I'd never faced in my life, that I'd never experienced in the outside world. Things like FOMO. I never even knew what acronyms like that meant. Fear of missing out. Imposter syndrome. Comparatinitis or comparativitis or whatever you would want to call it, but comparing ourselves to other people. Because one of the unique things, and I think it's unique to the online world, is everything is so fast-paced and visible and attention-grabbing online that we find ourselves seeing things and going down tracks and trails that we would never, and there's such a low barrier to entry, we find ourselves doing things and taking on new things and learning new strategies that we never would have in the offline world. I never would have had the time or energy or the resources to go down different trails in my offline businesses that I have been guilty of going down in the online world, which it's just something that's different about the offline and the online world. Not better or worse, just different. And I've come to believe that everyone should have an online presence and have their own brand and be who they are, be authentically who they are, but have that available to the world, because we want to work with and attract people that we want to work with. And you do that by showing up. I also believe that every business, big, small, mom and pop, out of the home, not out of the home, brick and mortar, virtual, needs to have an online presence. We need to be able to grab our cell phones and find your business, right? And the vast majority of them don't. There are millions and millions and tens of millions of businesses that have no social media or online presence. And I'm not a social media manager. I'm not anything like that. But I believe we have to consciously create that. Or what happens if we don't consciously create who we are and show up who we are in the world will make stuff up about us. And it might not be the flattering, great things we want the world to say about us. It'll just be what it is. And the other thing I found online is that, well, just like offline, bad news travels lightning fast. Good news travels pretty slow, if it travels at all. And so we need to be out in the world spreading the good news of what we're creating, what we're doing, who we are, what we want to be, do, and have, so that other people or other entities don't make stuff up about us, because it's really easy to do in the online world. I don't even know how many fake profiles and copied things I personally have, and I'm just a little deal. So big deal people get millions, lots and lots of things like that. All right, so today what are we talking about for Supersize Your Business, as well as the BU 365-day challenge, where we're doing one thing every day that improves us. Our topic today for No Nonsense November, day 16, was everything is rigged in your favor. And that's a lesson that I didn't always believe, especially when bad things happen, right? It's really easy to fall into the victim, ain't it awful, poor me mentality when bad things or dramatic things or traumatic things happen to us or even people close to us, right? If someone close to us dies, we didn't die, but we experience a lot of the same issues as if we, or is in a bad car accident. We feel a lot of the same things that they might feel, right? And we make our lives a whole lot harder when we do that. It's hard to separate ourselves, but we also need to do that in order to build the life that we want, create the life that we want. Excuse me. So when bad things happen, it's hard to think or believe that the world is rigged in our favor. But I will say that upon reflection, whenever we look back at past events, the person that you didn't date, the person that you didn't marry, the person that you didn't get in business with, or that you did get in business with, and then it turned out to be a bad partnership. That's one I've got experience in. Those things that feel like the end of the world at the time, it doesn't feel like they're happening in our favor. But usually when we go back after years or months, or even if each of us, it's different how long our grieving period is for different things. We go back and we look and reflect, and we realize our life took a totally different direction. And that direction was better for us than the direction we were going. Sometimes we think back to, oh, I should have done this. I would have, should have, could have done this. And I didn't. And then we take our life down the trail of if we had done that. But our fantasy of how awesome things would have been are never what really would have happened, right? We don't know what would have happened. You missed your plane, or you're late for a meeting, or you miss a job interview, or you screw up a presentation and you think it's the end of the world and you just want to give up and quit. But you realize you messed up so that you would get better, so that you would improve, which is in your favor, because if we're becoming and improving and getting better, that is something that happened in our favor. So all the disappointments, all of the bad things, and it's hard to embrace the good, the bad, and the ugly that's happened in our life. But until we look at that and say, what was my part in it? Because even if we're just in the wrong place at the wrong time, that was our part in it, because all of the decisions and the things that led up to us being in that particular spot at that particular instant happened for a reason. We got into that car accident for a reason. I had a sudden cardiac arrest for a reason. My life needed to make a drastic turn in the opposite direction I was leading it in, because I wasn't consciously directing and leading my life at that particular time in my life. I was letting outside forces, and not positive outside forces, absolutely positively beat me up. Anyway, I digress. So we talked about how to stack the odds in your favor, both for Supersize Your Business. Stack the odds in your favor or in someone's favor was our idiom for today. And we talked about how it's so much like the Hunger Games, may the odds be ever in your favor, that Effie Trinket says throughout that movie series. But the truth is, we can stack the odds in our favor. We control everything that has to do with our reaction to things, right? No, we don't control everything. We don't control the weather. But we can pick and choose what's important, what's a priority to us. We can identify our goals. And I share these both on both the annual challenge and Supersize Your Business. So I'm not going to repeat them all here, but they're things we've talked about, a lot of things we've talked about over and over and over again, right? The SOAP framework covers a lot of them and incorporates them and makes them automatic. That's why I am beating a dead horse with the SOAP framework, because I know how powerful it is if we take a tool or take a system or take a process, we install it in our subconscious and we just have it work automatically. We don't have to consciously think about it unless we want to, because we're focused on or facing a bigger challenge in our lives. So I'd love to know how the universe is rigged in your favor, how you stack odds in your favor. What are some of the things that you do to make sure that you're going to be successful? My biggest one is gratitude and habits and focusing on what I want. I guess if I had to only pick 3, those would be the 3 things. And then how do things make me feel? I could probably come up with 100 things, but it's easy to complicate things. It's actually harder to simplify things. But if we simplify things, we can share them with other people. If we simplify things, we make our life easier. And I'm all about how do I make my life more effective, more interesting, more fun, a better experience for me and the people around me, as well as easier. Because we all want the easy button, right? We all want things to be easier. And if we can make it automatic, I am all for making things a habit, making things automatic, so I'm always moving toward what I want. All right, that's all I've got today. If I can help you in any way, ask. Traveling for probably the next month or so, but that doesn't mean I'm not available. It just means my schedule's a little up in the air. All right, have an awesome day. I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.